I remember going out after Indienomicon meetup, and at the bar we were talking about like, hey, why aren't we doing anything with people in space? Like, do you know anybody at NASA? And we're like, no, I don't know anybody at NASA. And like, they're 45 minutes down the road. How do we not know these super geniuses that like are working in the space industry, and we're this close? And so we thought, like, you know, we do these game jams every year, every January, and that's really what formed our community, and that's where we have a lot of fun. Why don't we do that for space? Like, why don't we do space video games? And it'll be super exciting. And at the time, like, the shuttle program had also like recently, you know, shut down too, so there was like not a lot happening. People thought NASA went out of business, which was not true, not insane, but like, so we had that event, and again, like, from the night we thought of it to when we actually pulled it off was only a month and a half. Like, we like made 400 phone calls, like 400 emails, tagged every single person on social media we could. Like, we just tried getting a hold of anybody that we could. And we heard like a ton of no's. We don't know what you're trying to do. But eventually somebody said, wow, okay, this is interesting. And one person in Colorado called somebody else in Florida. And then that person reached out and they're like, yeah, I'm the former chief marketing officer for SpaceX. And, you know, I've been involved in space and I know some folks. Like, I'd love to have you out over to the Space Coast. So I drove over there, yeah, and just chatted with some people, and they were like, wow, okay, this is really interesting. Like, getting all of these artists and programmers and designers and musicians like together and prototyping like things about space that we couldn't do for 10 years and billions of dollars. And like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do something. Hey, we're gonna have a space lunch next week. You wanna come over for that? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay, I'm just thinking whatever space lunch is just like, we just get together and we talk about space. I show up and there's like 1,000 people there. And it's like almost everybody in the space industry. Like, there's tables, there's like Lockheed Martin, Blue Origin, US Air Force, like just everybody who's everybody. And I went there, shook a bunch of hands, like, you know, and then they're like, oh yeah, you sit up here. So I'm sitting there near the front, and this guy named Frank DeBello, who's the president of Space Florida, is speaking. And then at the very end, and he's saying like, hey, and we really need to support the youth. We really need to support new innovative ideas. And, you know, we're going to do this event called Indie Galactic Space Jam. And to tell you about it is going to be Kunal. And I was not prepared to like speak. Nobody told me I had to, and there I'm standing in front of like 1,000 people who make up the space industry, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do Indie Galactic Space Jam, and it's gonna be amazing. We were gonna have all these different game developers, and we want to work with the space industry. And, you know, I communicated as much as I could about the event, but then after that, a bunch of people came up and like, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to come and attend. And, you know, we found a little bit of sponsorship. The Science Center said like, hey, we'll help you out. And we pulled the event off. It's a total sellout. There's food throughout the weekend, and we were on the front page of the newspaper the next day. And then NASA called the next day.